Today I'm going to show you how to create a fixed fee project in AiM, and I'm in AiM test, because you'll notice the yellow bar here at the top, and then also it says test right up here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the project number of the one that I showed for an example. So I set up a fixed fee billing example 1 project, and you'll notice that I put the shop person as Justin and the shop is construction services. The project type is fixed fee. Down here on the work orders, you'll notice there's 2 work orders. There's one work order for billing RYFS, and a second work order that will bill the customer, the fixed fee. So when you dive down into the first work order, you'll notice that it looks pretty normal here. I have the customer, I have the property, I use the type and category, maintenance renovation, I have the project number, and on phase 1 I have paint, and phase 2 I have some abatement work. When you select phase 1, you'll notice that I use the paint shop. I pick the priority as scheduled, and over here on the work code I'm just using our standard building maintenance and repair work code, and this came in from an email request. When I select the account setup, this is what's really important. You'll notice that it's RYFS and the subcode is 09314. And so all the phases that you would create for facilities would need to be set up with this. I also entered a cost analysis estimate. I know that you guys are doing that. So now if I go back and navigate to the work order, I have a phase for EH&S. I went ahead and picked the shop as EH&S. One thing that you might want to do is go ahead and assign them when you create these, because I don't think that they assign themselves work orders. So you could just go in here and assign the group. On this phase, I picked the abatement asbestos work code. When I dive into the account setup on this one, you'll notice that it's charging RYFS, but the subcode is different. This subcode is actually resale items, so it's very important that when we're using someone besides facilities, so this would be work for utilities and energy, design and construction, and then also any of the SRS support. We'd want to make sure to use this subcode. So for facilities, the subcode is 09314, and for outside shops, it's 63555. So that's 2 really important differences. So I'm going to go back to the project, and let's take a look at the second work order number. The second work order number is the one that we're going to use to bill the customer the fixed fee. So you'll notice that I have it linked to the project, but the type and category is different. So Justin created a type admin with a category bill to customer, and you'd always want to use this type and category. It's very important when you are billing the fixed fee to the customer. So when you go down in here, I'm going to save this work order number because I'm going to need it in a minute. When you dive down into the phase, you'll notice that the shop's construction services, and I believe that's where we've decided that we want that shop whenever we're doing fixed fee. The work code, there is no work code group, so you just look for the one work code that's under this type and category, which is bill to customer. And again, request came in from an email. This is where we look at the account setup. This is a normal account setup. So you would put the customer's index here with a subcode. our normal service center subcode. And that's what we're going to bill the fixed fee to. If it was an IWA, we would put in capital funding, but this one's just a normal project example. I think I'm going to go back and set a second one up, and I'll do that with an IWA number so you can kind of just see the difference. Here's where you would enter the external charge, and that's why I said that I needed the work order number. So you go ahead and you click on the external charge, and you'll notice, oh, it actually remembered the work order number. That's great. So I didn't need the work order number. Here you could type in a description. I mean, I don't know that it's required, but you can. And everything in red is what's required. So you have the work order number and the phase. The work code just auto loads. Here's where you pick the subledger, and this is where if you wanted to break out the fixed fee by the different subledgers you could, but I think we decided to just pick contract. It'll just be one charge, but you could do, you know, 300 on labor. You could do 200 on material. You could, if you hired a contractor, you could pick that. If you had a rental, you'd pick equipment. But I believe we just wanted one charge to go to the customer, so we're just going to pick contract. And I suppose if you had used a contractor, you could link the invoice number here and the date, but it's not required. And then we'll just put in the total. So say that you were going to charge the customer $1,000 for this job. You'd go ahead and just put that in. And as soon as you hit save, it creates an external charge against this work order. But you'll notice that it's not posted. So now we need to go in and post the charge. And to do that, you go to the finance module and see where it says external charge approval. You'd select that, and if you knew the transaction number, you can enter it here, but you're probably not going to be working with very many, so you could just hit execute, and notice how it showed up here. And one thing you could do is you could go ahead and put these external charges in and then not approve them until you're at a certain point with the project. So they're just going to sit in here pending until you decide that you want to do this. So now if I select this and do approve, you'll notice that it approved. And if we go back to that work order number, which I'll have to go find it, you'll notice that it shows up in the cost analysis now as an actual. And so that's how you do that. So now I'll go in and I'll set one up from the beginning just to kind of go through it again with you. So you click on AiM and let's set up a project. And we can do new, and we can call this fixed fee example 2. I'll just go ahead and pick construction services. Let's pick Lawrence this time. Project type is fixed fee. I think you could also just probably type fixed here and it'll default. So yeah, whatever you want to do. So that's all you have to do here. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility here and things you can do. Like you could actually enter some estimated start dates and then actual when you do it, and this might be a reporting metric that you might like to have someday, or maybe actually have a report built by SAS IT, so that might be something you want to think about. You can also notice that you can attach related documents here or notes at the header of the project, so if you had your original estimates, that might be a good idea. So now I'm going to hit save. So I'm going to remember this number, and I'm going to go make my first work order. So let's just click on work order. We'll call this one lab remodel so it shows up different in the list. And we'll put me as the requester just because it's easy. And let's pick a different property. So this is the work order that we're creating for the shops, so we'll want to make sure that we pick our type and category so we can get to our work codes. So we'll call this a renovation. Now I'm going to add a phase. We'll do this one carpet and put in carpentry, priority. And again, we're using our simpler work code structure, so we're just going to pick building and building maintenance and repair. And we could say this came in on an email. And this is where we go over to the account setup, and we're going to enter RYFS 09314. Select done. But Justin, if he wants to control the budgets, you could also go ahead and add a fixed amount, because I know you've been doing some of this to keep them from going over even on some of our own work. RYFS 09314. Precedence 1, and we'll say that you don't want to go over $1,000 on carpets. I'll just go ahead and put that in. So you can do either. You can do fixed or percent. We'll go with fixed on this example. So that one's done. Now I'm going to add a phase to show you how to do EH&S. And again, I use the abatement work codes. They like to separate out what they're doing. Now we're going to go over to the account setup, and this is where it's different. So I'll just do fixed amount again. So we're doing RYFS, but because this is EH&S, again in the outside shop, we have to use 63555. And we'll say that we didn't want the abatement to go over $500. And I'm going to want to put the project number up here so we can link the two work orders together. So I got that one. You'll see that the first work order is here. Now I'm going to go and add a second work order. And this is the one that we would bill the customer on. Myself again. Too bad I didn't remember Volcanology's building number. And this is where the type and category changes. Oh, I can go ahead and type in my project number while I'm up here. And we're going to want to pick admin and bill to customer. See how that's different? And you should only get one work code that shows up under here. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the phase to build a customer. And I'm just going to pick construction services. See how only one work code came up? So if you skip over this work code group and you just pick work code, you're only going to get one option. And then this is a normal account setup, because this is the one that we're going to build a customer on. Oh, sorry, I said I was going to do this one as an IWA. So let's go find an IWA. I wonder if I can find one for volcanology. So there's one for volcanology. So you'll see that it just went through and attached the IWA. This is one though, when you're billing to an IWA, you're going to want to have some pre-conversations with the project managers, because there's some grant funds and things that they need time and materials on. So you might actually have to show the reporting on the other work order. So let's, we don't have to do an account setup because it pulled in the project. So we're all done, except that's an invalid agreement number. I know this won't make any sense, but I want to pick one that will work, so I'm probably going to go out and pick the night campus, because I'm pretty sure that one will work. Yeah, we'll pick that one. See how it switched? So now it'll probably save for me. Success. So you'll see that we have our work order for the shops to do all of their various stuff on. They won't even see a change unless they hit your budget total if you've done a fixed set mount. And then we have the second work order that I have billing to an IWA. And I can go in here now and do my external charge, and it's remembering the work order number. And we can just put a total in here. And I would pick contract and save. So you'll see that it entered. Now if I go back to the finance module, external charge approval, and there it is. So let's see if it approves or if I get an error on the night campus. It approves. So now if I go back to that project, must not be the right number. Oh, I'm in the purchase order one. And I go down here and I go to cost analysis. You'll see that that $100 posted on the contract subledger. So that's how you do fixed fee on just a normal work order setup, and then also an IWA.